you're a producer. If you're anything like me, you probably spend hours studying about music production and how to sell beats to other artists from other producers. But when's the last time that we've actually discussed the things that we talk about every single day with another artist? My name is El Marquis, musician, rapper, record producer, unashamed Christ follower, and today I'm starting a new series where I'm going to start out interviewing artists and ask them about a lot of the questions that I feel producers really need to know about.
El Marquis Productions.
Hello fellow bedroom producers, welcome back to the channel. If you're familiar with the type of content that I normally make, I primarily make videos that give advice to producers and artists of things that they can take away from these videos as well. And then one day I had an epiphany. We study from other producers how to sell beats to artists and how to market our beats, different ways to make income from our beats. And while of course it's great to learn from different producers who are in the space that we want to be in, if you're someone who specifically wants to sell beats to artists, work with artists, get placements with artists, it will be a really good idea to actually hear from their perspective, tap into their brain, and see what they're looking for in terms of looking for a producer to work with and what they look for in terms of buying beats from a producer. So now I don't have a name for it yet, but I'm starting a series where I'm interviewing primarily artists. Eventually I'm going to open it up to maybe interviewing other producers, maybe even other people who work within the music industry, such as different managers, A&Rs, label execs. For right now I want to focus on interviewing artists, and basically I want to pick their brain and just get their perspective on different things that we talk about as producers on a daily basis. This is primarily meant to educate other producers, but also there are a lot of things that artists can get out of these as well if they want to get an idea of what to look for in a producer, or maybe beats in general, or the music industry in general. So to kick this series off, for my first guest, I have my friend who I've been producing for about 3 years now, Britney Lee. She's an artist who I actually have been producing hands-on. She's super dope and super talented, and her perspective on music and music production can definitely help producers like you out there right now. So we had a pretty dope conversation about music production, and now we're gonna get right to it. Hello fellow bedroom producers, welcome back to the channel. I'm trying out a new series where I'm interviewing artists to get their perspective on different things that we do in the music producer community. I want to get their perspective because oftentimes we're talking to each other, we're giving tips to each other about how to make beats, how to sell them, how to connect with different artists. And I thought about, wait a minute, why are we all talking about this amongst ourselves when we should also be talking about this with other artists? So I brought over here my friend, the young, the beautiful, the talented Britney Lee. We're gonna chop it up. We want to talk about different things within the producer community, and we're going to get her perspective on different things that we talk about pretty much every day. First of all, how you doing?
I'm great.
Awesome. So to get this started off, tell us about yourself. Who's Britney Lee? What do we all need to know about you?
This question to answer. I'm Britney. I'm 19. I do music. And it's my passion. I love it. So I started doing music when I was really young, for as long as I can remember. But I think what got me started and got me interested in music was musical theater. Because I used to go to community theater productions all the time when I was younger, and I had neighbors that did it, so we would go watch them. And then I started doing community theater, and I got most of my singing experience from theater and being in shows and all of that. Yeah, now I'm making my own music and putting it out.
Nice. Describe your sound in 5 words.
Delicate, but powerful.
That's 3.
I don't think I can do it in 5 words.
Okay. That 3 words. Delicate but powerful. I like that.
Delicate but powerful, and then celestial.
Delicate but powerful, celestial.
And I use sound effects that Hades would have picked out himself.
That's a lot more than 5.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the good stuff. What is your definition of a music producer?
The producer is the person that makes it all possible. Personally, I don't have the skills necessary to craft all of these super complex, unique, crazy beats that I hear. So as an artist, it's nice to not have to do that part and have somebody else to rely on. So the producer's the catalyst in taking ideas from my head and turning them into something real.
Is there anything that you think, as an artist, the producer has responsibility over? When you're coming to a producer, what are you looking to get out of them?
A final mix. Just to take my ideas sort of to the next level. I love it when a producer can give me their own opinions and input and sort of treat my song like our song and sort of make it their own in a way, add anything they think would sound good in the song, I guess. So yeah, just taking my sound to the next level.
Okay. So I've done the majority of your production. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
But you've also worked with other producers, some I'm assuming local, some maybe outside of the DMV area.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're working with these different producers, what's something that gravitates you towards working with them?
Okay, I have a couple things. So number one, I really love it when a producer can speak my language because I mean, what I mean by that is like, I mean, you know this, but like, I don't know all of the terminology where I'm at right now in my life. I'm learning. But like, it's really nice that if I have a sound in my head, I can just like describe it the best I possibly can and you understand what I'm talking about. And not everyone can do that. Sometimes people just look at me like I'm crazy. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been in the studio and I've been like, Lorenzo, like I want like a popping sound, like something like that. And he's like, okay, bet, like I can do that. Or like if you want, you can just like do that in the mic and like we'll make it sound cool. And it's great because like you always know what I'm talking about. I also appreciate it when people are good with time management.
Yes.
I mean, the longest I've ever waited for a final mix was 8 months. And that was for one song after like calling and texting.
Not for me, by the way.
emailing.
Not for me.
Yeah, no, not for him. But like, I thought that was like ridiculous, you know? Like, nobody should have to wait 8 months for a song. Like, I wanted it out by April. I didn't get the final mix till August, so it didn't come out until September. And it was just like, why did it take that long? There's no reason. Yeah, so I really appreciate that. And I have one more thing.
I was gonna say, just to emphasize that one point, producers, when you're working with other artists, please stay on schedule. Artists should not have to wait 8 months to get a mix or a beat or anything like that. Obviously, time happens. Producers, we are working with multiple artists at the same time. So obviously, there are times when they have to wait for us to give them a product that we're all going to be proud of. But at the same time, just be transparent about how long it takes for you to get something back to them. And don't take like 8 months, even as a perfectionist myself, like that's too much. So what was the one other thing you wanted to add?
I have to check my bullet points. Hold on.
One moment later.
Yeah. Okay, got it. So, I mean, this is going to be a little different for everyone, but like, I really appreciate when I can like feel comfortable around a producer. I don't really know what specifically makes me comfortable around a producer, but like if I can't grab coffee with you without feeling awkward, like I'm not gonna be able to put my best foot forward in the studio. I'm just like not gonna be able to do my thing, be myself. Like if I can't dance around while you're mixing my track, or if I can't like sit on your floor or like do yoga right behind you while you're mixing my song, then
Exactly
like
happens.
then I don't want it. I don't want to do it. Like so. Yeah, that's why I appreciate the relationship that we have.
Thank you.
It's like, you're not just my producer, you're like my friend now. You're like part of my inner circle. You're like one of my best friends, so.
About me crying on camera. No, for real, even from the perspective of from a producer, that's actually something I really appreciate about our relationship, about some other people who I also work with. Because selling beats online, that's cool, but when you're producing someone hands-on, that gives you a totally different feeling and a totally different connection. Your creative process when you're working with someone hands-on is so different, especially when it's with someone who you truly vibe with. That's what I appreciate about working with Britney. That's what I appreciate about being able to produce other artists such as Butu, Nonpareil, other artists who I hope I also get on the series. To producers out there who only sell beats online, if there are artists in your local area, which most likely there's at least one, no matter where you live, if you have the opportunity to work with someone hands-on, I definitely recommend it because of what we're just talking about here, like being able to build a bond, a friendship, that'll help you make completely different types of music than if you just sold your beats online, just post it on YouTube and be like, hey, everyone, go buy my beats. Go check out my YouTube, go check out my BeatStars or whatever. Like the stuff I make on my own, it's cool, it's cute, you know, it's just whatever.
It's a vibe.
It's a vibe, you know, it's alright. But like the stuff that I make with Britney, like that stuff is like, it challenges me as a producer in a good way. It challenges me to try out different things, different sounds, different chords, different workflows. It challenges me to speak Britney's language or the language of an artist who maybe they don't know all of our own terminology like automation or gross beat or I don't know.
I don't know what either of this means. I know what a vocoder is.
Okay.
And I know auto-tune. That's my favorite.
But yeah, but like exactly though. So something I do with Britney, not just Britney, like there are other artists too who come through who don't know even something like a reverb or delay. They don't know the difference between those. And that's like second nature to us as producers. But something that we need to do is we need to get on their level, get on their same playing field and be able to speak their language as well. So I just said like a lot all within that little thing. But basically, yeah, if you can work with another artist in person, do it. If all you want to do is sell beats online, that's fine. But trust me, you're missing out if you don't work with an artist hands-on. What catches your attention when you hear a beat? So whenever you hear a beat, whether it's something that I'm making, whether it's something that another producer that you're working with is making, or if it's just something in one of your favorite songs, what catches your attention when you hear a beat?
This is gonna sound really basic, but I like things that sound unique. You know, I like hearing sounds that I've never heard before in a beat, and like I love irony. So it's really cool when I hear like sounds put together that wouldn't normally go together. Like one time I heard like a really hard like trap beat with like ukulele in the background, and like I was like, oh my gosh, that's dope. You'd never expect like such a delicate instrument to go with like a trap beat. But personally, I find that I like gravitate more towards like hip hop beats. I'm not a hip hop artist, not an R&B artist, definitely not a rapper, never would claim to be.
She raps a little bit here and there.
Okay.
Hashtag Britney bars.
Yeah, maybe. It catches people off guard, like when somebody like me uses like a hip hop beat. But I actually just thought of something that pushes me away from producers.
Yes.
To go with like your last question or whatever. But something that really like turns me off working with someone is when they don't take me seriously. Because I just remembered like there was this one time that I went to this guy's house with like some of my friends. He was a beat maker. He was gonna try to give us some beats to use. And when it came time to tell him which ones we wanted, like I told him, and he laughed in my face because they were like beats that he intended for like, dare I say, a male rapper to use. And like I thought it was really rude, and like my friends all got their beats that they wanted within the next few days, and I never heard from him again. And like now he's in my DMs trying to make music because he knows what I can do now. But just like take your artists and like their vision seriously.
Yes.
Because that's really important. Like you never know, like one day you could be making bank off the stuff you made together. So like just take them seriously.
Facts. One thing I'll say to producers too is that when you are working with an artist, their vision is what's most important. I might bring this back up later, I'm not sure yet. But anyways, when you're working with an artist, the way I think about it is they're my boss. We're working together. It's a team effort, but they're my boss. They tell me what to do and I do it. Of course, I give them my input because if they didn't want my input, they could just be making their own beats or just leasing the stuff off of YouTube. But at the end of the day, their name is going on the song. Their name is going where it says artist whenever you look them up on Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to your music. So I want the artist to get the sound that they're wanting, that they're intending to go for. If that means that we gotta do something crazy that maybe I don't necessarily agree with, like I don't know, maybe if we put a flute over a country beat, or I don't know, something crazy, it's still my job as the producer to just make that work, to figure that out. And just give respect to your artists as well. Like if they're saying to do something that maybe seems out of the box, or maybe you may think in your head doesn't fit them well, try it out anyways. Maybe you as the producer, you could be wrong. Maybe the artist is wrong. Who knows? You won't know unless you both try it out and experiment. That's another reason why it is really important to have a friendship type bond with the artist that you work with, just because then you both have that freedom to experiment. Also, you'll have a closer bond to be able to say, hey, you know what, this is kind of whack. Like when Brittany and I are working together, if I put out like this really whack sound in a beat, I really hope that you would say, hey yo, that's stupid, take that out.
I would say it nicer, but yeah.
She would probably cussing at me.
No.
Take that out.
I would not. I'm nice. I'm nice to you.
She is. I know. I'm the mean one, actually. Here's a big one, especially for producers who sell beats online. As an artist, how do you feel about paying producers for their beats?
So, I mean, I don't know how valid my answer is going to be because I've actually never bought a beat. Every beat that I've ever done, like, I've made in the studio with you.
You pay for studio time, which is like, not the beat itself, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably cheaper to buy a beat than it is to pay for the studio time to make the beat. Really?
For some producers, like producers in my space who also sell beats online, I'm not gonna say my price on camera, but like other people who are similar in my space, they can charge anywhere between 200, 500. Producers who are like bigger charge a couple thousand. Your super producers like, I don't know, Metro Boomin or Murder on the Beat, or I don't know, Illmind, or people who are on like that superstar level, Timbalands, they can charge like 20, 50 grand, 100 grand, different like prices like that. So I mean, for what we do, it's a lot more affordable than like what is typical in like even online, or even more so in like the music industry.
Dang, I didn't know that. That's crazy. You learn something new every day.
Well, that's more specifically for exclusive beats. For leasing beats, which is also what I do, producers normally charge anywhere between like $30 for a basic lease, which we'll get into leasing versus exclusive later. Producers on like the low end will charge like $30 for a basic lease, up to maybe, depending on who it is, between $100 and $200 for their most expensive lease. And also the difference between like that versus an exclusive, of course, is ownership. We'll get into that in more detail in a moment, but continue.
All right. Well, I mean, I think it's great, like, for producers and beat makers, because if that's your passion and, like, you want to make money off of it, go for it. That's what I'm doing. I'm an artist. I do think that, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I think it's totally fine to buy beats. I think it's great. It's great for the economy. But I do think as an artist sometimes, unless you like know the producer personally and like they can alter the beat for you, if what you want is like creative freedom, then it might be easier to just like do what I do and like make the beats with the producer, because I love being a part of that process. It's like one of my favorite parts of making music. So I think it just depends on like what you're trying to do.
Some producer just slid into your Instagram DMs right now and said, buy my beats. No context. What would you do? How would you respond?
Block them. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I need the extra followers, so like, I'm not gonna block him. Probably wouldn't respond, to be honest. It happens on like a daily basis. I'm loyal to him.
Oh, it happens to me too. Like producers actually try to sell me beats all the time. Probably because I'm also an artist and I have that in my Instagram bio, but it's almost every day too. Okay, now slightly different scenario. Let's say a producer slid into your DMs, whether it's on Instagram, email, whatever, and they try to they do build a relationship with you first. Even if you don't necessarily know them in person, but let's say some guy or girl, they build a relationship with you at first, and then later on, they send you beats and they also want to be compensated for it. How would you respond in that type of situation? And also, let's assume that the prices are reasonable, like not like $1,000, $2,000. Like let's say something reasonable, like maybe they want a lease for like $30, $50.
Okay. I mean, assuming that I like the beat.
Of course.
I mean, I would probably go for it. I don't see why not. Like, if it's a good beat, if I like it, if it's high quality, they're respectful, then I don't see why not. I mean, if the beat is trash, then maybe not. One thing that I also, I mean, sort of on a similar note, I do not appreciate when people just like spam my email with beats, because it's happened before. Like I've had, like, believe it or not, like it happens a lot. Like almost every day I check my email and there's like beats, like people send me beats all the time. Sometimes I open them. Most of the time I don't, because like, you know, I'm gonna just say be reasonable about it. If you're gonna reach out to people, like don't spam them, because that's just annoying. You're gonna get blocked if you do that. I'm not gonna name any names, but like there is someone in particular who sends me beats on a regular basis, and when I don't answer, they like slide in my DMs talking about like, why are you ignoring me? Like we stopped talking. Like I don't want your beats. I'm sorry, but like,
don't be sorry. No, you said no.
I feel bad because I don't want to be mean.
No,
I don't
no
want to
means
crush his dreams, but like,
no means no.
Yeah, no means no. Facts. Feminist energy. Also, be mindful of like who you're sending your beats to. Like, for example, I'm gonna contradict myself real quick. I know I said that I like try to use like hip hop inspired beats most of the time, but like not everybody does that. Most people don't do that. So don't send a pop artist trap beats straight out of the hood. Like they're not gonna be interested, okay? Or like a dubstep beat even. Like don't send me a beat that's not even in like my genre.
That's actually a big gem, because there are lots of producers who assume that trap is the only thing that sells. Not only that, but also they'll just go out and like just reach out to a bunch of artists without even listening to their music, and then they'll just send them beats that don't really fit their vibe at all. Like they'll send trap beats to someone who sounds like Code of the Friend, who's more chill, more boom bap / lo-fi influenced, or they'll do what Britney just said. They'll send trap beats straight out the hood to like a pop artist who like they sing about innocence and love and all this other stuff. If you are going to just go and do that approach, which is just cold emails, cold DMs, sending beats to them, first of all, you shouldn't be trying to sell them beats on the first message. But also, if you are sending beats off, even if you're sending beats off to a bigger artist to try to get a placement with them, make sure what you're sending does fit their vibe. Because if you're sending Future a beat that sounds like something Lady Gaga would sing over, I don't know, or vice versa, whatever, they're probably not gonna use that beat. If they even open the email at all, they're probably not even going to use it because it doesn't fit their style. So don't spam. And then if you do get the chance to send someone beats, make sure it actually does fit their vibe. And also, to get back to the original point too, in terms of buying beats from producers, I don't have a problem with artists buying beats from producers. I also don't have a problem with necessarily or sending beats to an artist for free. There's a lot of power in actually building a relationship with an artist too, rather than just charging them however much you charge for beats, whether it's $50, whether it's $500. If you're someone who's just starting out, the most important thing you need to do is just get your foot in the door. And if you're not a very known producer, especially if you're still learning and perfecting your craft, and if it's not on the level of someone who's super big, or even if you're not doing anything that's super unique, don't be afraid to send beats to an artist for free. And there are different ways that you can still get compensated if you decide to do that. For example, DistroKid. There's a feature on DistroKid called Teams where you can actually automatically split up the royalties from the song amongst yourself and everyone else who collaborated on the song. So for example, if Britney and I, if we decided to do that feature, I could make Britney a beat, she could turn into a song, she uploads it to DistroKid, and then we could just split it 50-50. So that way, whenever it gets streamed on Spotify, whenever someone buys it, that money automatically gets split up between us. You can do that with another artist. Is it as much money as having them just pay you? It might not be. It might. If the song does really well, that's gonna be way more than that upfront $50 or $100 or whatever that they may give you. So if you're just starting out, if you just really need to get your foot in the door, even if you are more experienced, don't be afraid to actually work with an artist for free. Get compensated, of course. At the very least, make sure that you're getting royalties. Don't let an artist just take advantage of you and let them use your beats, blow up, becomes a hit, and then don't get anything, not a royalty, not even a thank you. Get something out of it, but at the same time, money shouldn't always be the priority, especially if you don't have a lot of credentials under your belt. So if you decide to work with artists, of course, get compensated in some way, but money should not be the number one thing. Number one thing really should just be making some beautiful music together.
Yeah, that made me think of, he was actually the first producer I ever worked with, like ever. I remember like the first time I came to your studio, it was like to record my song Chasin'. That's like not even out anymore. But I remember you also, like shortly after that, you sent me a beat for free. It was the one for Diamond, actually, which is on my EP. And like, I thought that was cool. Like, we hadn't been working together very long. You were like, oh, here's this beat. Didn't know what to do with it, but like, here you go. And I was like, oh my gosh, bet. And I really liked it, so yeah, that's dope. And like, that also like sort of influenced me to keep coming back. It's like, oh, he has my best interest at heart. Okay, bet. Like, he's a cool dude. So.
And I did that genuinely too. I wasn't trying to do that to get something out of Britney. Like, the story behind that specific beat was I made that beat a year prior to actually starting to work with Britney. It was just sitting on my hard drive because it was a really special beat for me. Prior to making that beat, I was going to Beat Block, and then I made that beat. To this day, it's one of the best beats I ever made, and I was saving it for someone really special who I knew would bless it. And then, a year later, meet Britney, and like after 2 sessions, I believe actually I sent it to her after the second time we worked together.
Probably.
Yeah. For the second time we worked together, I was like, you know what? It just like something just hit me. Like I had just remembered about that beat that I've been saving for so long. And then I was like, you know what? Take it. Like I want to hear you do something amazing over it. And then of course I didn't do it specifically for this, but obviously, what now? I think 3 years later now? We're still working together.
We're going on 3 years.
That's crazy.
Dang. Pretty crazy. Yeah, because we started working together when I was in high school.
I'm probably still in college at that point. Yo, we're old. No, I'm old. You know, you're young. What am I talking about? I'm the old one.
I'm not even old enough to drink.
Yeah.
Getting there.
Yeah, a couple more years.
Yeah.
Kind of touched on this a little bit, but let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. And I can explain this to you too if you don't know the difference, but what's your opinion on leasing beats versus exclusive beats? And do you need to know the difference?
I do know a little bit about that, actually.
Okay,
I did
tell us
some
what you know.
research. Okay. What was the question?
What's your opinion on leasing beats versus exclusive beats? For example, do you value one over the other? Do you see benefits in one over the other? Whether it's in terms of what you get out of a lease versus an exclusive, price-wise, what do you think is more fair to the artist? What's your opinion on that from the perspective of an artist who would be the person buying the lease for a beat or the exclusive rights to the beat?
I think it just depends on where you're putting your music and what your goal is. If you're like me and like you hope to be on the Grammy stage one day, then I would say exclusive beats are the way to go. But like if you're just starting out or you're experimenting, then I don't think leasing would be necessarily a bad idea. But it really just comes down to what your goals are.
Can you explain some of the differences for an artist, let's say they're just starting out? Because when I work with other artists, more specifically ones who I interact with online, some of them are cool with getting the lease for a beat. Some of them, they want the exclusives, but they're also just starting out. Can you think of any reason why someone should get one over the other, specifically for an artist who's just starting out?
Yeah, I say yeah, and I don't have an answer. I like totally lost my train of thought. I'm like over here having an ADHD episode. I've been sitting down for too long. I cannot do this. Okay, so I think for someone just starting out,
or we can broaden it too, just artists in general.
Artists
like,
in general.
Some guy came to you on the street, and they just randomly asked you, hey, I'm an artist. Should I buy this beat for my album, the lease for it, or should I get the exclusive? What would you say to that artist? What do you think some of the benefits are from just leasing it versus just buying it straight out?
I think leasing is probably, it's more cost efficient. So like if price is an issue, then like I would say lease it. I mean, like it just makes more sense. I mean, there's nothing wrong with leasing beats, but I mean, if you're really trying to have something unique that like no one else has, then exclusive.
So when people lease beats too, artists are essentially, when you lease a beat, there's probably someone else who has the beat. Especially if you buy it from a producer who's been around longer, who has a high selling volume. There might be 5, 10, 20, 100 other people also using the same beat if you leased it. As an artist yourself, would you have a problem if you leased a beat and then you heard someone else who may be an artist on the same level as you, maybe is even a bigger artist? Because some bigger artists lease beats as well. Or they buy exclusive beats from producers who lease beats. If you heard someone else rapper sing over the same beat that you used, how would you feel about that as an artist?
I would feel like the value of my work went down, to be honest with you. I mean, that's so sad to say because I mean, everybody's art is unique and different, but like, it just sounds like a bummer to me, you know? Because like, I even get upset if like, I've been working on writing something for a long time and then a big artist comes out with something remotely similar to the topic I was talking about. I'm like, dang, I didn't get to it first. And they did. Now people are gonna think I'm copying them. And that's kind of how it is if you lease a beat and like you're a smaller artist, no matter when you made it. If a bigger artist then goes back and uses the same beat, everybody's gonna think you're copying them no matter when your song came out, you know? Because no one's gonna check like the date. People are gonna be like, oh, like you're just trying to be like them. or whatever, you know? So, I mean, personally, I don't think I would ever lease a beat just because of that. Like, if I had to save the money, I would save the money. But I think exclusive was the way to go.
From my perspective, I do see benefits for both. I'll normally recommend an artist lease a beat whenever they're just starting out, if their budget's small, because some artists, they want exclusives, but they don't want to pay enough for it. So then I'll just recommend them just to buy the lease, just because, especially, not even if you're just starting out, but if you have a smaller budget, I would say leasing the beat would be more beneficial because you could use that extra money to put it towards things that will get you further, such as music videos, social media ads, photo shoots, different things like that. Because, like, for example, for a producer like me who charges sub $100 for a lease most of the time, you could spend, I don't know, $200 and that's an EP right there. For someone else, that could be just one beat. And even when, in terms of someone else using that same beat, if you're someone who's just starting out, if you're thinking about your particular fan base, that fan base may not necessarily hear your song and hear someone else's song and be like, oh wow, they use the same beat, I'm not listening to that guy anymore. They probably won't do that. Is there a chance that they will? Maybe like a small chance, but I definitely do see the perspective from an artist who they think that their work may be devalued if they hear someone else sing or rap over the same beat that they use. But then when it comes to that, it's just, what do you value more in terms of your budget? What do you prioritize more? If you want to use beats that no one else has access to, most of the time it's going to cost you money. Either that or you just build a relationship with the producer. Either way is going to take work. If you're just an artist who downloads stuff off of YouTube, then that's not going to necessarily work in your favor. As the artist, you're going to have to compensate the producer in some way, whether it's through an upfront fee, whether it's through royalties. All that really just comes into building relationships, figuring out what works best for you, and just figuring out what do you want to prioritize. That's definitely some helpful insight to producers who maybe they only lease or maybe they only do exclusives, both. All right, next topic, moving away from money a bit. Do you think it's important for artists to understand terminology that producers use? For example, if we're talking about mixing and I'm talking about different things with EQ or compression or reverb or just different effects, do you think it's important for an artist to understand what all that stuff means when they're talking to a producer?
You made this question to attack me.
I did no such thing.
Okay. Yes, I think for like time and communication purposes, it just makes things make sense. It makes things so much easier, I think. Just to use me as a bad example of what not to do. I don't know all the terminology, like I said before. So if there's like something in the final mix that I'm not rocking with, or like I don't like, it's hard for me to identify exactly what it is that I don't like, and it's harder for you to fix it. So it would be helpful if I understood more of like what goes into like mixing and like sound effects on like the voice and stuff like that, just to make it easier to communicate with my producer. So yes, I think it's important that artists be educated.
I'll say too that when I'm working with certain artists, like for example, I'll shout out our friend Keith. He knows a bit about mixing and a bit about production, so when I'm doing a song with him, sometimes we'll just say, hey, can you do this specific effect, or hey, can you move the EQ this specific way? He even comes in actually even knowing the BPM of his beats that he raps over, which is cool. Most rappers don't. It's not hard to find that as a producer anyways, but when you are working with an artist, I would say that it does help when they do know at least some terminology, not necessarily on the same level as you per se, as the producer. I'll also say in response that it's important for the producer to be able to explain what they're doing in a way that makes sense to the artist. For example, I know how to use EQ. Do you even know what an EQ is?
You gotta like dumb it way down for me.
Obviously, as a producer, it would be fire if they could say, oh yeah, can you just remove a little bit of 500 hertz and bump a little bit of 16 hertz or whatever? Looking at me like I'm speaking Chinese.
Yeah, like it does not even sound like English.
But that's the point though. So the artists, they may not understand what that stuff means. It would be my dream if someone could be able to just say exactly what to do instead of saying, I don't know, other things like, hey, can you make this sound airier or boomier or whatever. But as a producer,
I just thought of something. What was the drum? I can't even remember what it's called. Wait, hold on. I remember, you're gonna have to tell me what it is again, but I remember one time I was like, wait, I want that one drum that's like, wait, I just spit everywhere. I want that one drum that's like,
a hi-hat. I think it was a hi-hat. It was either like a hi-hat or like a snare drum that was doing like a roll.
Yeah, I was like, I want that.
But exactly. So as the producer though, like that's your job, is to take the artist's sound effects and be able to translate into something that makes sense. Spit all over my phone. Now I gotta clean all that stuff up.
I'm sorry.
It's okay, I think. Here's a big one. What is something that you wish you had as an artist?
For marketing purposes, I wish that I had the same like resources and knowledge that they have like at the top big leagues. Because just like fashion, music has trends. There's like trends in marketing, there's trends in like what people are talking about in their lyrics and what kind of sounds they're using, colors for like cover art and music video themes, stuff like that. There's always trends happening. But those things, exactly like fashion, they're projected, they're like pre-planned out and like predicted and all of that, and that's why you see a lot of artists like all doing similar things at the same time, like making similar business moves. Even the whole thing where people started like releasing singles right before an album and then putting the same singles on the album to like sell their music twice or whatever, like that was even like, that started as like a huge trend. But like down here, like the bottom of the food chain, us smaller independent artists, like we don't know that stuff. Like we don't know what's gonna be happening and what's gonna be trending until it's right in front of our face, and like everyone's already been there, done that. So I mean, I need to work on this, but that's why it's so important to be like putting out content left and right all the time and like hope for the best. Hope that eventually like you got a trend, like you hopped on the bandwagon before it started popping, or like when it starts popping.
I ask this because as a producer, when you're working with an artist, it's really important to actually provide value to them in some way that's more than just beats. Because if right now, if you want to get a beat, and let's say I'm tired or I'm not feeling it, let's say you just need a beat right now, you can literally go on YouTube right now and type in insert artist name type beat, and you got a beat right there. Or if you really wanted to, you could learn production yourself, and then you could make your own beats and stuff. Which you can make like on your own. You could actually make some pretty decent beats. Like you yourself, you have a computer. All you have to do is get something called, there's a website called splice.com, which is like a website basically where you can get loops and stuff, like melody loops. You can download the loop and put some really simple drums over it, and you got a beat right there. So technically you as an artist yourself could make your own beats if you wanted to.
Have you heard You Are the Stars?
Yeah.
That's the only song of mine I've ever produced myself, and you can tell, to say the least.
The swing on the drums, it was a offbeat. I'm kidding.
Have you heard the bass on that joint?
Yeah.
It's... No, never mind. Go listen to You Are the Stars by Britney Lee.
The point though is that the artist, they can either get a beat for super cheap, I mean, they can get it for free off of YouTube, or if they really want to, if they want to go in this direction, they can produce their own beats. And if you listen to stuff on the radio even, like the stuff's pretty simple. As a producer, you need to look for different ways that you can add value to the artist in more than ways than just making the beat. So let's say two producers are sliding into your DMs at the same time. One's just like, hey, here are these free trap beats that I got, or these beats that I want you to pay for or whatever. And then there's another producer who's like, hey yo, I make beats, I want to produce for you, but let's say I can help you out with promotion in some way. Who are you more likely to work with?
Promotion, dude.
So as a producer, learn about more things than just how to make fire beats. Obviously that needs to be on point, because if your beats are trash, the artist is not going to work with you or pay for them or whatever. But if you can find another way to also add value to them, whether it's something like we do where we have a friendship, I tell Britney that she can send me ideas at any time of the day. She sends stuff to me sometimes at 3 o'clock in the morning. Or even like a friendship where even I say like you can talk to me about stuff like outside of music, or even if you're just trying to build connections with people who maybe you don't know in real life, if you can offer your opinion in more ways than just sending a beat over, or if you can offer video editing or promotion or knowledge. One big thing that I actually use for myself is that I study different things that artists need to know themselves, and then if an artist asks me, hey, how do I get my music on Spotify? I can talk to them about how to use DistroKid, for example. I do Instagram DMs. I used to call artists a lot on the phone, which I still do every now and then. I have videos on my YouTube channel right here that I can point them to as well. And then that's how I actually do get to work with certain artists who I meet online, because they come to me wanting more than just beats. They want to know knowledge, like how do I use DistroKid? How do I register my music with BMI and Songtrust and Sound Exchange, different things like that. And since I know that stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually how, these are all the things you need to do right here. And then they're like, oh snap, thank you, that actually helped me out. You know what? I'm gonna go visit your website. Wow, this beat's fire. I'm gonna buy it. That's a lot different than a little 13-year-old producer making generic trap beats that just goes and slides up to people's DMs and says, hey yo, buy this. Which happens a lot.
It does.
Kind of banking off of this question a bit. What's something that you wish producers specifically could do more for an artist?
I think you covered most of it, but I think more often, you do this, but I think more often, like some of the other producers I work with especially, should be able to like offer more of their own opinions and like their own ideas. I know I said this before, but like really just treat my songs like our songs, because
Yes.
at the end of the day, that's what they are. We're both gonna make some money. It's our song.
Facts.
Give a care.
The PG version.
Yeah, give a care about what we're doing. I think I had too much coffee today.
I never know.
I'm over here like twitching. Tell me if something's whack. Like all I want to do as an artist is take the best songs I've ever made and make them better. So if you can help me do that, then by all means be my guest. I love having really honest critiques of my music. It's important to me.
We both do that to each other. Like if I'm making something and there's like an instrument or a sound effect that you don't like, you tell me. Even when you're recording vocals, like I'm not afraid to be like, hey yo, do that again.
He's like, Brittany, you could do so much better than that.
I say it politely most of the
Like,
time.
wake up, drink some water. Don't forget to breathe. Take a breath. You're losing air.
But yeah, just to get back onto the point I was making previously, if you want to be a producer, be a producer. If you don't want to just be a beat maker, and if you don't just want to be the person just making beats or whatever, if you're working with an artist hands-on, even if you are someone who's just selling beats online, be able to add value to the artist in some way, whether it's your opinion, whether it's being able to share knowledge with them that they may not know. Be more than just a beat maker. Be more than just literally the person who's making the beat. Connect with the artist in some way, add value to them in ways that maybe they can't do on their own, or maybe they just don't have knowledge or resources of at that moment. And trust me, if you can find a way to add value to them in another way than just giving them your generic trap beat, artists will work with you. That will increase your beat sales if that's what you're trying to do. It'll help more artists want to work with you in person if that's what you do. And overall, as Brittany just said, artists are looking for more than just a simple beat. They also want to get your opinion, get your critiques, get your input on their music. So when you connect with an artist, try to find different ways to add value to them.
Yeah, seriously, that stands out a lot. I mean, anybody can set up a mic and hit record, you know? So like, it stands out when a producer's like actually trying to help me while I'm recording, because more often than not, I end up not here. But like, I end up at studios where like, they're just like, all right, go, start singing, you ready? Like, let's do another take. It's like, all right, great, I could literally do this at home if I had the equipment.
Facts. Which artists do, which is why as producers you need to step your game up, because artists can do this stuff on their own. There are tons of artists who record themselves. There are starting to be even more artists who can make their own beats because of things like I mentioned, Splice.com, where you can just download a loop. Artists can put a relatively simple drum beat over it, call it a day. Depending on their style of music, that could be all they really need. So yeah, just find different ways to add value to the artist, whether it's through knowledge, whether it's through input, whether it's even through being able to make music that they couldn't make on their own or that other producers may not be able to deliver to them. Find some way to stand out and to add value to them in more than just making them a simple beat. So that pretty much wraps up the producer related topics for today. First of all, thank you so much for giving me your input and sharing this input out there to all the other bedroom producers out there. What are you currently working on right now for yourself?
I'm working on an album right now. Feels so weird to say that. I've been doing music so long and like I still haven't had like an album come out. So it's really cool to be working on it with you. I wouldn't have it any other way. I'm not really gonna talk about details too much because I'm indecisive and everything's probably gonna change by the time it comes out. But just know it's fire and ice and everything in between.
It's fire. It is super tough, trust me. And I won't just say that. Like I'm super proud of the stuff we're doing. I'm actually trying to make this the best album that I produced ever.
It's gonna be. I mean, until we do the next one. But
Facts. And where can people find your music and what are your social media handles?
you can find my music on pretty much all platforms, specifically iTunes and Spotify. I'm everywhere except for SoundCloud. No shade.
All the shade, please. All the shade. And what do they type in? What do they type in to find all your stuff?
Just type in Britney Lee.
Spell it for them.
BRITNEY LEE.
You forgot to spell your own name.
All my social media. You can find me everywhere at Britney Lee Music, except for TikTok. My TikTok is Ethereal Gemini, but I spelled ethereal wrong.
Spell it.
The real way was taken. It's ETHE. No, it's not. I don't know how to spell it wrong out loud. No, I definitely spelled it wrong when I was changing my username to that.
Yeah.
And then I realized, and I was like, dang it, I'm just gonna go with it. Okay, it's ETHERIAL, and then Gemini.
And I'll put all that in the description below so you can just click on those links. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for being the first artist on this new series. I still gotta think of a name for it. Maybe I'll think of it by the time that I start editing. Who knows? But this has been Britney Lee Music. This is El Marquis Productions. Thank you so much for tuning in, and God bless. Thank you for watching this video. If you like what you've seen today, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications so you know whenever I upload new videos. Also be sure to visit my website, lmarquisproductions.com, where you'll be able to check out my music, my beats, my sample kits, my merchandise, as well as my mixing, mastering, and consulting services. Also, big thank you to Britney Lee for being the first guest on the series. I still don't have a name for it yet, but big thanks to Britney. Go follow her on social media, go check out her music, go stream it, buy it if you're a pro. I'll leave all her social media links in the description below so you can go check her out. Go drop a comment on one of her most recent posts and just tell her how awesome she is. And now go down in the comment section below and let me know what are some other questions that I can ask in this series. What are some things that you would like to know from artists? If you're an artist yourself, do you have any questions for music producers like me? Let me know in the comment section below. My name is El Marquis Productions. God bless.
You're getting higher and higher, always dressed up in designer, desperate to mend your sorry soul, trying to make yourself feel whole.
This is freaking lit.
Can I please take a lap now?
Oh, you got it. Yeah, you